I've been silently following this community for a bit now, trying to come to terms with the betrayal I've experienced. To sum it up, my wife and I have been married for 8 years, and we've been together even longer. We share two young children. This past year has been especially rough. We've had our share of disagreements, but never anything I thought could push her into being unfaithful. Recently, I started picking up on some troubling changes. She seemed emotionally distant, disconnected, and cold. One evening, I decided to ask her directly what was going on. She told me, "I'm just not happy anymore. The spark is gone." I immediately turned inward, wondering if I had been neglectful or absent in some way. I took that hit personally. But the very next day, I saw something suspicious on her phone, a message that was way too affectionate for just a friend. That led me to dig deeper, and I found a long-standing thread of messages between her and another man. They weren't just flirtatious. They were talking about love, building a future together. I was crushed. Taking advice I found here, I didn't immediately confront her. Instead, I began researching, speaking with a couple of attorneys, and focusing on staying calm and collected. I've since retained one of the lawyers. A few days later, I confronted her in a composed and measured way. I asked, "Are you involved with someone else?" After a pause, she confessed. It had been going on for 6 months. She said it was the deepest emotional bond she's ever had, a line I honestly couldn't believe. I made my expectations clear. The relationship with the other man had to end immediately. We'd attend marriage counseling, and she had to be completely transparent with me. But when I asked her to end things with him while I was present, she got defensive and angry. She even insisted on seeing him one last time to get closure. I stood firm. "If he means that much to you," I told her, "then go pack a bag and stay with him." She eventually backed down, but not before calling me a controlling a-hole. The next morning, she showed me a text she claimed she sent to end it with him. But my gut tells me she's still hiding something and will try to keep the connection alive somehow. At this point, I'm not holding on to hope, and honestly, I'm not even sure I want to. But I do want to be able to tell my kids one day that I gave it a real shot. We have a counseling session scheduled for tomorrow, but I think it might be time to stop dragging this out and move forward legally. I'm just trying to handle things slowly and carefully for the sake of our children. But I still wonder, am I going about this the right way? Update: didn't expect this much attention. Thanks to everyone who commented. Your words have given me a sense of validation I really needed. The divorce papers are ready. My attorney just needs to process them. I still need to choose a date to have them served. You're all right. Trying to save something that's already broken beyond repair will only make things worse. My focus now is on my future and being the best father I can be. It honestly feels good not to roll over and accept this situation. Staying level-headed has helped. It's going to hurt, but I'm keeping that drive alive, not letting this defeat me. One day I'll look back and be grateful I stayed strong. My kids will see that too, when they're old enough to understand. Someone mentioned keeping evidence in case she tries to rewrite the story for our kids later. I get where they're coming from, even if going nuclear isn't the right parenting choice. Another commenter said something that stuck with me. She claimed it was a deep emotional connection, but didn't even try to hide it well. If she truly ended it, she wouldn't be so defensive. That resonated. I replied that the guy isn't a coworker, but someone she's professionally connected to. And I agree. She's probably still keeping it going in some way. It's time to stop dragging this out and move on. These last few weeks have been brutal, but I've done a lot of reflecting. Yes, we did attend a counseling session after I confronted her. I'll give the therapist credit. She's been thoughtful, balanced, and helped us unpack the dynamics of our relationship. That doesn't excuse what my wife did, but it has provided some insight into what led us here. Still, my wife's behavior around ending the affair felt more like a performance than a real decision. I even caught a few more messages before she erased the chat history and locked her phone. That was the final straw. I filed for divorce, and she was served a few days ago. I also had a deep conversation with my father-in-law. We're close, and I wanted to make sure we put the kids first in all of this. I could tell my wife just wanted to sweep everything under the rug. At first, she was furious that the fantasy life she was chasing fell apart. But in therapy, the counselor helped explain my side. I think my wife is just now realizing the consequences of what she did and what she's losing. Right now, I'm trying to adjust to this new chapter, from being a husband to becoming a single dad, trying to rebuild who I am. I guess she's going through the same. Since I filed, she's been highly emotional. I think she really believed I would never walk away. I've kept some distance, and we've kept conversations civil and focused on co-parenting. I've been honest. She inflicted a deep wound, and it's on her to take full responsibility if there's any hope of repairing anything. I need time and I need space. Her actions were selfish and deeply painful, but I haven't lost sight of the bigger picture. We still have children to raise together. That's my main focus now. I'm proud of myself for not sinking into despair. I've managed to hold on to my self-respect and keep moving towards something better. I don't know what the future looks like yet. My emotions are still a mess. But for the first time in a long time, I feel a little bit of peace. Update. Right now, I'm in the stage after serving my wife with divorce papers, and I'm working closely with my attorney to plan the next moves. What I'm trying to figure out is whether anyone here who's been in my shoes managed to leverage their spouse's affair fog to gain the upper hand during the divorce process. Specifically, I'm curious about how they were able to use that state of emotional distraction to secure more favorable terms in the settlement. At this point, my soon-to-be ex is still heavily wrapped up in the fantasy of her affair. She continues to stay in contact with the other man, but I haven't confronted her about it. Honestly, I see it as a distraction that's working in my favor. It keeps her preoccupied and less focused on the legal and financial reality of the situation. That said, I'm hoping to learn from others who've been through something similar. Were there any surprising concessions you were able to get during this phase? Any strategies that helped you keep your spouse off balance just enough to shift the dynamic in your favor? I've already started using some emotional distancing tactics. I've pulled back communication, I've stopped sharing personal details, and I've started going out more frequently without explaining where I'm going or why. That alone seems to have subtly changed the power dynamic. One user suggested an interesting tactic. Create a divorce proposal that appears incredibly favorable to your spouse, something that looks like a win for them on paper, and have your attorney shape it into something more realistic, but still in your favor. Then present it as a gift. Let's just get this over with so you can run off into the sunset with your guy, and I'll stop bothering you. Use their fantasy to your advantage, and if it takes bending the truth a bit, do it. Someone else shared that their ex ran off with a wealthy affair partner and genuinely believed he'd leave his wife and commit. Because of that delusion, she ignored major assets, including the house the couple owned, retirement accounts, and investments, and only asked for half the joint savings. He said he was tempted to expose the affair to the other man's spouse, but his lawyer advised against it. The advice was clear. Stay calm, keep your cards close, and let the fog either clear or carry the divorce across the finish line. In his case, the ex eventually drained $60,000 from their savings and vanished. Reading stories like these has been incredibly eye-opening. I'm still trying to fully wrap my head around everything, but I'm staying focused and tactical. If anyone has practical advice for navigating this specific phase of divorce, especially strategies that are both legal and ethical for dealing with a spouse still lost in the affair fog, I'd really appreciate it. Update. I've shared parts of my situation before, but here's a short version for anyone new. My wife had an affair, I uncovered it, and she hit me with the classic "I care about you, but I'm not in love with you" line. She even claimed her affair partner was the most profound emotional connection she's ever experienced. Honestly, total nonsense. Since then, it's been the usual drip-fed half-truths, manipulation, and gaslighting, straight from the typical cheater's script. Once I managed to clear my head and regain some emotional footing, I moved forward with filing for divorce. We're now a few weeks past the service date. For now, we're still under the same roof, mainly because I'm prioritizing time with our kids. I've relocated to a different room in the house, which has helped me set some much-needed emotional and physical boundaries. I've shifted into full gray rock mode with her, neutral, detached, and sticking to the bare minimum communication. Around the kids, though, I dial it up just enough to maintain a sense of normalcy. They're still young, but I know they can feel the tension, so I do my best to keep things light and positive when they're around. My evenings are now mine again. I've made it a point to reclaim that space, whether I'm at the gym, catching up with friends, or just finding reasons to stay out. It's all about reconnecting with life outside of this chaos. That said, I'm also trying to stay present for my kids, so I still participate in family dinners and help with bedtime routines when it benefits them. It's a tough balance, but they deserve stability. I'm still open to learning, though. If you've been through this stage, what's worked for you? And what should I steer clear of? One person shared a hard-earned lesson. Don't sleep with her, no matter what. That was my biggest mistake. We weren't married, but we lived together and had 2 kids after our breakup. One night I got drunk and we hooked up. It made everything 100 times more complicated. Also, don't let her come crawling back. Affairs built on lies don't last. Once reality sets in, a lot of cheaters try to circle back. Be ready and stay strong. I responded, that bridge has burned. I don't even feel physical attraction anymore. Just a deep sense of betrayal. I get that some people might feel tempted, but for me, the connection is gone. I wouldn't even hug her, let alone anything else. That's where things stand for now. Every day still feels like walking a tightrope, but at least I've stopped stumbling through it blindly. Update. This post isn't meant as a full update. That'll come later when I'm ready. Right now, I'm just reaching out for insight. If you've walked this path before, I'd love to hear what helped you most. Were there lessons you learned too late? Moves you're glad you made? Advice you wish someone had given you sooner? The support I've received here already has been incredible, and I'm just trying to gather any more wisdom I can. That said, here's a quick snapshot of where I am. The last couple of months have been cold but relatively stable. Though we still live under the same roof, we've essentially split our lives down the middle. We've focused on co-parenting and keeping things smooth for the kids. Fortunately, mediation went fairly quickly. We settled on joint custody, split holidays, and sorted out finances with minimal friction since we're in a no-fault state. We each made some compromises, but the process followed a pretty standard route. I'll go into more detail in a future post, but for now, I'm getting ready to move into a place of my own. A clean slate I'm really looking forward to. The divorce is nearly finalized. Here are some takeaways I've picked up through all of this. 1. Don't waste energy trying to win them back. I spent a few days after finding out trying to understand, trying to fix it, but it quickly became clear she was too far gone. Once they're in that fantasy headspace, nothing you say or do changes their course. Let them live with their choices. 2. Hire an experienced family law attorney. This was one of the best decisions I made. My lawyer kept things grounded in reality. Not just what I wanted, but what could actually happen. The clarity saved time, money, and emotional wear. 3. Accept support from people who care about you. Your circle matters more than you realize. Let them lift you up when you feel like you can't do it alone. 4. Move your body. Seriously. I got into weight training about a month after everything blew up. It helped clear my head, gave me structure, and slowly started rebuilding my confidence. 5. See a therapist. Having a neutral, professional voice to help me process everything has been game-changing. It's helped me stop internalizing her actions and start rebuilding who I am. 6. Her actions are on her, not you. She gave every excuse in the book. We became roommates. You worked too much. I didn't feel seen. But once I laid out the full timeline, it was obvious. Things started falling apart after she invited someone else into our marriage. Someone who gave her attention, flattered her, and filled whatever void she wasn't willing to discuss with me. Instead of being honest, she rewrote history to justify her betrayal. Her affair partner? A twice-divorced serial cheater who has no real sense of integrity. It's tragic, but it's not mine to carry. That choice was hers. And so are the consequences. As for the affair partner, affectionately nicknamed Captain Midlife Crisis and Lieutenant Love Bomb, we'll see how that plays out. I've got a strong feeling the ending won't be pretty. A few days ago, I uncovered something that shook me. Apparently, long before we met, she cheated on a former fiancé, with a married woman, no less. That relationship ended when the other person died in a car crash. I only just found this out, and it hit me hard. For a while, I wondered if I could have done more to save our marriage, but this put it in perspective. That kind of unresolved emptiness, the kind that leads to repeated betrayal, isn't something I could have fixed. It never really had anything to do with me. Has anyone else discovered their ex had a long history of infidelity after the fact? Anyway, things are looking up. I can finally see a glimmer of light at the end of this tunnel. I won't get into all the specifics of the final settlement, but I'm in a much better place than I feared I'd be. Give it a year, and I'm confident I'll be on solid ground again. Financially, emotionally, mentally. I know how badly this can unravel, and I'm thankful I've landed on my feet. For what it's worth, I filed within 2 weeks of uncovering the affair. She never apologized, never showed an ounce of guilt, and still hasn't. We've stayed civil for the kids, but emotionally, I keep her at arm's length. I never blew up on her, never gave her ammo to twist the story. I stayed calm and cautious, partially to protect myself in case she tried to spin something into a false domestic accusation. Even now, I sometimes wonder if I should have responded more strongly. Should I have cut ties faster? Made her face more consequences? Sometimes I feel like I let her walk away too easily. Has anyone else struggled with that feeling that you didn't act firmly enough? How did you move past it? One more thing. Since I'm still living in the marital home until I finalize my move, I've had to keep things polite for the sake of the kids. But I've drawn a clear line. We are not friends. She blew up our marriage, and with it, any hope of friendship. She keeps saying things like, "I still want to be there for you," or "Let's decorate your new place together," or "We should keep the family holiday traditions." I shut it down every time. My answer is always the same. You wanted to replace me, and now I'm giving you that space. But you are not welcome in the life I'm building from here on out. Anyone else have their ex try to linger like that? I feel like it's about appearances. If we're on good terms, she can pretend it wasn't that bad. But let's be honest, it was. And I have no desire to be anywhere near her or her so-called soulmate. When their love story crashes and burns, I'll be nowhere close. I'll be long gone, watching the wreckage from a distance with a drink in hand. Update. As of today, it's official. The divorce is finalized. I'm no longer a married man. On top of that, I just picked up the keys to my new home and will start the move shortly. I opted for the buyout because for me, it was the cleanest way to turn the page. A way to truly start over and create a fresh chapter in my own space. Truth be told, I lucked out. I found a beautiful home less than a minute from where I'm currently living. It's got everything I could have hoped for. A spacious fenced yard, a wood deck, a fire pit, a large garage, and best of all, it backs up directly to a nature preserve. Being someone who lives for the outdoors and cycling, it honestly feels like I've found my own personal escape. Like nature carved out a little haven just for me. Some folks might ask why I decided to stay so close. The answer's simple: my kids. I want them to know I'm always nearby, that I'm present, involved, and ready to show up when they need me. No hesitation. With the help and encouragement of this community, I kept my focus on what really matters. I committed to a fitness routine and stuck with it. I channeled my energy into a new career path, which recently paid off in a big way. As for dating, haven't touched it. Don't plan to anytime soon. My priority is being the best dad I can be and growing into the best version of myself. That's where my time and heart are going right now. As for my ex and the man she left me for, I finally reached a point where I've let go. Whatever's going on between them, that's not my business anymore. It's not my burden to carry. Someone once said something that really stuck with me. If they cheat with you, they'll cheat on you. That about sums it up. I know what I brought to the table as a husband and father. If someone else sees value in that now, great. If not, that's their loss, not mine. I want to thank everyone here for the constant support, insight, and kindness. This community has carried me through more dark moments than I can count, especially when I didn't have a strong support system close by. And if you're just starting down this painful road, hang in there. Take it one day at a time, one moment even. You will find your footing, and you will come out stronger on the other side. I'm no expert in life, but I've made it through the worst of it. If anyone out there needs someone to talk to, I'm here, willing to listen, no judgment. Update. Just wanted to share a quick update, especially for those newly facing the fallout of D-Day and wondering what life might look like on the other side. I'm about 6 weeks post-divorce, and it's been just over a month since I moved into my new place. I've been working nonstop to turn it into something that feels like mine, and now it finally does. Fully furnished, comfortable, and truly home. The kids have settled into the routine, and the transitions have gone surprisingly smoothly. I'd always heard that kids are adaptable, but witnessing it firsthand has been a huge relief. They've embraced our new space, and we've created our own traditions and rhythms. Hearing them say they love being at Dad's house, that makes everything worth it. I won't lie. Those first few weeks felt weird. The quiet, the solitude, it hit hard. But I started building structure, task lists, goals, a daily routine. That gave me direction and pulled me out of that emotional haze. Sure, the sadness was there in the beginning, but staying active has been my lifeline. Right now, my attention is on my kids, improving the house, and staying healthy. Dating isn't even on my radar. I'm just not interested. Someone once described moving out of the marital home as finally surfacing for air after being underwater. That hit home. It's exactly how it felt. And my ex, I keep things civil. We speak only when it concerns the kids. No updates about the so-called soulmate she left me for. In fact, he's been completely absent, which, well, speaks volumes. But frankly, I don't care. Tonight, I sat outside with a cold drink and a cigar, looking out at my quiet backyard, and I felt peace. Real peace. Leaving the situation she created was the smartest move I've ever made. If you're standing at the edge of this mess, unsure whether to stay or go, I understand the fear. I've been there. It's painful. It wrecks you. But walking away from betrayal, that's freedom. And eventually, the pain fades. It really does. Nearly 6 months out from the divorce and creeping up on 1 year since D-Day, and I finally feel like I'm reclaiming my life. Many of you have been with me through this journey, offering advice and encouragement. I can't thank you enough. I hope my experience helps someone else who's still in the trenches. Things are looking up. My place feels like home now. The kids love it here and have even made new neighborhood friends. We've carved out a new normal, and they've handled the change like champs. No confusion, no drama. They understand time with dad, time with mom. Simple. I've thrown myself into home projects. The guy who lived here before clearly let things slide, but that gave me a blank canvas. I've upgraded the space, built a home gym, and I'm lifting and boxing several times a week. I'm feeling stronger, mentally and physically. Work-wise, I took a leap and transitioned into a new role. It was a risk, but it paid off with a raise, recognition, and a promising long-term path. I've kept my personal life private at work, and it's been the right call. Mentally, I still have rough days. No pretending otherwise, but therapy and fitness keep me grounded. And the best part, my ex barely crosses my mind anymore. That in itself is healing. She's still chasing a fantasy, but that's not my problem. We co-parent just fine, and I stick to the gray rock method. As for the affair partner, that epic romance still hasn't seen the light of day. My kids have mentioned him here and there, so apparently he's lurking in the background. Still in hiding, 6 months in. Sounds super solid, right? I've reached a place of acceptance. Whatever happens on her end, it's out of my hands. I'm just grateful I stepped away from someone capable of betraying me and showing zero remorse. Now, I've got a second chance to rebuild, and I'm going to make the most of it. To everyone who has supported me, thank you. The messages, the advice, the encouragement, it all mattered more than you'll ever know. I'll keep posting, keep helping, and keep showing up for anyone who needs it. Now, I could really use some feedback. My daughter's birthday is this weekend. We already had a celebration with my side of the family. A small get-together with cake, presents, and smiles all around. She had a great time. But now, my ex is throwing her usual spectacle, a big party at the old house. She invited me, and I just found out the affair partner will be there. Yep, at my daughter's birthday, in our former home, surrounded by her friends, relatives, and coworkers, all of whom know the real story. I called her out, told her flat out, "This is a garbage move." No response. It feels like a setup, a lose-lose situation. I've spoken to a few people here already, and the consensus is the same. It reeks of manipulation. She knows exactly what she's doing. It's bait. She wants to provoke a reaction to make me look like the bitter ex. Right now, my plan is to show up looking sharp. Fresh haircut, dressed well, calm and composed. Let her see what she threw away. Be polite, focus on my daughter, then dip out before the circus starts. But honestly, I hate this. It feels like emotional warfare. She's manufacturing a narrative, probably to make herself look good or justify the wreckage she caused. I'm trying to rise above it, but this one's hard. So here's my question. What would you do? If you've dealt with something like this, I'd love to hear how you handled it. Thanks again for everything. I'll check in and respond when I can later today. Update. I just want to start by expressing my sincere gratitude for the overwhelming support I received after my recent post. From the very beginning of this roller coaster, this community has been my anchor. Your guidance, empathy, and encouragement have kept me steady through some of the darkest moments. Truly, thank you. It's meant more than I can say. Now let's get into the update. And trust me, it's a satisfying one. Earlier in the week, I had told my ex-wife that I'd be at our daughter's birthday party. What I didn't share was that I'd quietly decided against it. On Sunday morning, instead of attending, I drove over just to drop off my daughter's birthday card and gift. Turns out the kids were spending the morning with their grandparents, something I hadn't realized. So as I pulled up in my car, a sleek little sports model that I've come to really appreciate, I noticed something instantly. Parked a little awkwardly down the road was the affair partner's beat-up ride. Yep, he was there. I made my way into the backyard, calm and collected. And there they were, my ex and her affair partner hanging up party decorations. Their reactions when they spotted me? Absolute panic. I'm not exaggerating. It was like they saw a ghost. He wouldn't even look me in the eye. Just muttered, "Hey, man," with this shaky little laugh. And me? I didn't feel anger. No bitterness. Just a strange wave of pity. I stood there for a second thinking, this is the life you chose? This is what you threw it all away for? And somehow, that realization didn't hurt. It gave me clarity. Maybe that's what healing looks like. I calmly said, "Just stopping by to drop off a gift for our daughter. I won't be staying." My ex looked stunned. Her voice got soft, almost pleading, as she said, "Can you stay just for a little?" I smiled politely and replied, "Thanks, but I'll head over to your parents' place and give her the gift there instead." Then I turned to the affair partner, offered a friendly, "Catch you later, man," and walked away without looking back. Less than 5 minutes later, my phone rang. It was her, again asking if I'd reconsider and come back to the party. I politely declined. I spent a few peaceful minutes at her parents' place later that day. I gave my daughter her gift, played with the kids for a bit, and then headed out without mentioning anything about the awkward backyard scene earlier. I kept it light, calm, and drama-free. After that, I focused on myself for the rest of the day. Knocked out some house projects, got in a solid workout, and even went on a casual date. It wasn't fireworks or anything, but she was kind and it helped clear my head a bit. Later that night, my daughter called to say thank you for her gift. She didn't ask why I wasn't at the party, just like many of you predicted. She was too busy enjoying herself to notice or care. And honestly, that's exactly what I'd hoped for. In the end, skipping the party was absolutely the right move. If I had gone, it would have messed with my head and served no real purpose. Instead, she told everyone I'd be there, and I wasn't. Meanwhile, he was. I can only imagine what people thought. I'm sure they connected the dots. But here's the real win. I spent the rest of my weekend in peace. No emotional hangover, no drama, no regrets. I felt confident. I felt in control. I felt free. Thanks again to every single one of you who's walked with me through this. Your support continues to make all the difference. Update. Here's a short, but hopefully entertaining, update to close out the week. First off, thanks again to everyone who showed up with support and solid advice on my last post. Seriously, the encouragement meant the world. I've been riding a high ever since my little birthday party maneuver, and the past week has been surprisingly great. So here's your Friday laugh. A little backstory first. After D-Day, most of my in-laws cut me off faster than a bad habit. No surprise there, blood loyalty and all that. But there's one exception in the extended family who's been a real one. This guy's got integrity and hasn't wavered once. We still catch up regularly. Last Saturday, the day of the big birthday bash, I got a text from him during the party. "Hey man, beers this week?" People were definitely asking where you were. Fast forward to midweek. We meet up, grab a few drinks, and eventually the conversation turns to the party. He grins and says, "Dude, that party was a train wreck. You could feel the awkward in the air." According to him, the affair partner didn't get introduced to a single soul. My ex kept her distance from him for most of the day, treating him more like an unpaid event planner than a love interest, barking orders while he handled decorations. Meanwhile, her family? Totally cold. Sat off to the side, visibly unimpressed. The guy didn't mingle, didn't talk, and eventually just retreated inside to avoid the tension. Then my buddy adds, "Some folks on our side were whispering how tacky the whole thing was. You made the right call not showing up." I couldn't help it. I laughed out loud. I'm honestly reaching a place of genuine detachment, but hearing that just hit the sweet spot. Apparently, my absence didn't go unnoticed, and more importantly, it was understood. Folks saw right through the situation. Even the family knew I had every reason not to attend, and they knew I'd already stopped by earlier with my daughter's gift. Message received. So, there's your Friday story. For anyone just entering this storm, stay above it, take the higher path, lead with dignity, and keep your cool. It might not feel like a win in the short term, but like building muscle, the payoff shows over time. The ones who matter will notice. Happy Friday, everyone! Keep your head up. The good days do come. Update. Just need to get something off my chest this morning. This community has always been a safe place to vent, so here goes. If you've been following my story, you already know the gist. My ex-wife cheated with some crusty old guy, I ended things, and almost a year later, I'm doing well. Honestly, life's looking good. Things are solid. Personally, professionally, financially, and especially with the kids. No complaints there. Of course, I still have to interact with the ex. We keep it civil, and I stick strictly to the gray rock approach. She knows absolutely nothing about what's going on in my world, and that's intentional. My close circle, friends, family, they all know exactly why I filed for divorce. But I still get the feeling she doesn't really grasp the weight of what she did. She struts around with the affair partner like they're a power couple, puts on this overly sweet act like we're still cool, and now she's taken it to a whole new level. A few days ago, I checked my mailbox, and there it is, a Christmas card. Not just a card, but a full-on photo shoot-style greeting with her and the kids, all smiles. My first thought, are you kidding me? Then, out of nowhere, one of my best friends calls and says, "Hey, weird question, but did you know your ex sent me a Christmas card?" I just stood there speechless. Apparently, she's been mailing these out like we're still one big happy family. I wouldn't be shocked if my own parents get one next. This has to be some bizarre PR stunt, like she's trying to control the narrative or pretend we're all still one cohesive unit. It's completely delusional. Of course, I haven't said a word to her about it, and I won't. She can keep playing pretend. I'm not engaging. Just needed to share this with people who get it. Anyone else ever had their ex try something like this? A part of me wants to laugh, but the other part just feels baffled by the lengths she'll go to keep up appearances. Update. It's been a full year since my divorce was finalized, and now that life has finally started to settle, I thought it was time for a proper update. I've shared a lot during the roughest parts of this journey, so it only feels right to share the progress too, especially if it helps someone else going through the same. One thing my therapist told me early on stuck with me. Life moves in seasons. She encouraged me to give myself a full year to process the upheaval, the grief, and the identity shift that comes with divorce. 4 seasons later, we wrapped up our regular sessions. I'll still check in from time to time, but she made it clear I've come a long way and landed in a really solid place. First piece of advice, find a good therapist and put in the emotional work. It's uncomfortable, but the growth is real and absolutely worth it. About 5 months ago, I cautiously stepped back into the dating pool. Yep, dating apps, and wow, that was an experience. Some laughs, some cringe, and a few moments that made me question humanity. But eventually, I met someone great. We had a fun, low-pressure 3-month relationship that helped rebuild my confidence and remind me what connection can feel like. In the end, our paths didn't align. Cultural values and future plans just didn't match. But we parted ways on good terms, with mutual respect. And honestly, it was exactly what I needed at that moment. No regrets at all. The kids are doing awesome. We've hit a groove. My ex and I keep communication focused strictly on parenting, and we're keeping things peaceful. My home, which I've put a lot of love into, has truly become my sanctuary. On top of that, my career has taken some major steps forward, and financially, things are looking better than they ever have. Momentum is finally on my side. Now, for the inevitable question. Any news about the affair partner? Well, no explosions yet. If anything, it's gone Facebook official. Every now and then, my kids mention him in passing, and yeah, it still stings. But I've learned to simply acknowledge and redirect the conversation. It's not a battle worth engaging. Funny moment, though. My daughter asked, "Hey, Dad, who's insert name's uncle?" She'd seen something on her mom's social media. I had to laugh. That web just keeps getting more tangled. The whole thing's turning into its own sitcom. Truthfully, I've stopped giving that situation any of my energy. 2 people built on lies and betrayal don't exactly scream power couple. If anything, I pity them. Imagine trying to build trust in a relationship where both people know firsthand what betrayal looks like, because they've done it. I'm honestly surprised they've lasted this long. But hey, maybe someone was aiming for their 3rd round of vows. Nothing dramatic to report. And that's actually been the best part. Sometimes healing looks uneventful, and you know what? I'm totally fine with that. Peace beats chaos any day. That said, the one piece I'm still working through is the loss of the family I thought I'd have forever. The holidays hit especially hard. This past Christmas was the first without our old traditions, and it left a mark. I've started building new ones with my kids, but it's been a reminder. People you thought would stand by you forever can surprise you in the worst ways. But I'm still here. I'm still building, and I'm still grateful. This community helped carry me through the hardest year of my life, and I'll never forget that. If you're just stepping onto this path, know that it gets better. Progress might feel slow or dull sometimes, but that's how healing works. When things get quiet, that's often when the real peace begins. Thanks again to everyone who's read, commented, messaged, or offered encouragement along the way. I'm always around if someone needs a listening ear or a bit of perspective. Take care, and Happy New Year to all of you. Here's to new beginnings. Update. As always, I'm incredibly grateful for the level-headed support and honest insight this community offers. It's helped me stay grounded, and I know my story has helped others too, which is why I continue to share as I navigate this long road to healing. If you're new here, feel free to scroll through my post history. The whole story's there. I'm now approaching the 2-year mark since D-Day. 2 years since everything imploded. I acted quickly. Divorced, dealt with the fallout, including my ex-wife's affair with the infamous other man, and began the slow climb back. It hasn't been a straight line. There have been wins and setbacks, but where I am today feels peaceful, mostly. Lately, though, I've hit a bump. I've had to be around my ex more than usual because of our kids' activities. I keep things civil, keep my distance. But the more I observe, the more I recognize a pattern. She's using these busy co-parenting touchpoints to maintain a sense of control or presence in my world. Then, midweek, I got that text. Just a heads up, your son wants a fair partner to play baseball too. Fantastic. I didn't want to hand her any emotional leverage, so I kept it short and clear. You're free to do whatever. You already know how I feel. Just don't expect me to engage with someone I have no respect for. And that was that. Fast forward to the weekend. There I was, sitting just a few feet away from the guy. And honestly, it was almost entertaining. I finally got to see their interaction up close. Just like many of you predicted, he's constantly trying to prove himself. The guy looked like he was walking on eggshells, catering to her every word. Couldn't even make eye contact with me. It was awkward and a little pathetic. It reminded me of the birthday party I posted about a while back. Just like then, I ended up chatting with my former father-in-law, who, surprisingly, has been pretty warm and supportive recently. I won't lie, I didn't sleep well the night before. I had been dreading the whole situation, but by the time I left, I felt strangely at ease. No anger, no sadness, just pity for the circus unfolding across the field. I hugged my kids, gave a friendly wave to the in-laws, jumped in my car, and drove off with a smile. Is this what emotional freedom feels like? One thing that really stood out: my former in-laws. Historically, they've been polite but distant since the divorce. But this time, they sat with me during the game. They laughed. They joked. It felt like old times. That moment made something crystal clear. They no longer believed the narrative she fed them about me. That quiet realization felt like another milestone in my healing, just another step forward, and a reminder that keeping your dignity pays off in the long run. Update. Well, here I am again. Didn't think I'd be posting this soon, but I needed to get this off my chest. This morning, while I was driving my daughter to school, she suddenly said, "Daddy, guess what? I have 2 daddies now. Mommy said Mr. Affair Partner is my second daddy." I could practically feel my blood pressure explode. But she's still just a little kid, too young to understand the weight of what she was saying. So I took a deep breath, steadied myself, and gently replied, "Sweetheart, you have one mommy and one daddy, but there can be other grown-ups who care about you too." I wanted to throw up while saying it. Everything in me rejected that moment, but I knew it wasn't the time to unload. You don't burden a 4-year-old with adult pain, no matter how raw it feels. Still, I'm furious. Who in their right mind tells a child something like that? Especially when the so-called second daddy is the reason her real family blew apart. I haven't reached out to my ex yet. I've managed to hold back, even though my instinct is to grab the phone and let her have it. But seriously, what was she thinking? This isn't co-parenting. It's rewriting the story to fit her shiny new narrative, her version of Family 2.0, where consequences don't exist and everything looks picture perfect on social media. She's out there portraying the affair partner as some dream stepdad, ignoring the damage underneath it all. Part of me wants to confront her. But then I think, is there even a point? Anything I say will just be spun into accusations that I'm controlling or bitter. She won't hear it. She doesn't want to. So here I am, shaking my head again, stuck between wanting to speak up and knowing it'll fall on deaf ears. Anyone else been in this spot? Update. Still rocking through life over here. No major developments in the ongoing saga just yet. I've been soaking up the summer, staying grounded and keeping things moving forward. Thought I'd drop in for a quick check-in and hear from the wise minds in this community. No need to rehash the full backstory. It's been nearly 2 years since D-Day. 2 years since everything imploded. Looking back, I'm honestly proud of how far I've come since that train wreck landed in my lap. A proper update is on the horizon, but today, I just want to get your take on something I've been wrestling with emotionally. As I've mentioned before, the affair partner, lovingly nicknamed Old Man Balls or OMB, has been showing up more and more in my kids' lives. I can't control it, and at this point, I've stopped trying. It is what it is. As for my ex, she's just background noise now. We interact only when absolutely necessary, and even then, it's purely business. Like I'm talking to a bank clerk. Zero emotion, just facts. I've built a life outside of all that, and honestly, things are good. Really good. But every so often, I still get caught off guard. Usually when the kids casually say something like, "Dad, Grandpa's coming to the game," or "OMB's going to be there too." Instant mood shift. When that happens, I pull it together. Throw on the shades, dress sharp, focus on my kids, and tune out the noise. It's only happened a few times, thankfully. But it's clear my ex is still working overtime to curate her happy family image. Mutual friends have mentioned her social media is a constant highlight reel. Good for her. I stopped watching that show a long time ago. Here's where I could use some perspective. Even now, just knowing I'll be in the same space as OMB ramps up my stress. Not overwhelming, not obsessive, I'm not spiraling. But it's a real, physical reaction. And I think that's completely human. But lately, a few people who've never dealt with infidelity, have dropped comments like, "You shouldn't still be triggered. You must still be holding on to something. You need to let it go." Excuse me? So I'm bringing this to the people who actually get it. Is it unreasonable that I still have a visceral reaction to the guy who helped blow up my marriage and now plays a role in my kids' lives? Let me be crystal clear. I am not fixated on them. I'm not stuck in the past. I'm genuinely happier now than I've ever been. But hearing dismissive, tone-deaf takes like that from the sidelines, it really hits a nerve. These are people who've never been through anything remotely close. So of course, they don't understand the emotional fallout. And yeah, I've heard the usual line, "Your ex is the one who betrayed you, not him." Sure, she's the main culprit. That's why I treat her like a customer service rep. No warmth, no connection. But let's be honest, OMB wasn't some innocent bystander. He played his part. He helped tear apart a family, and his presence means I see my kids less than I should. So yeah, I'm allowed to feel anger toward both of them. One person nailed it in a comment I read a while back. You don't owe the affair partner anything. You're not expected to fake a smile for the guy who helped burn down your house. Anyone who says otherwise has no clue. Exactly. Forgiveness and grace are easy to preach when you're sitting in a comfy chair with nothing on the line. When betrayal is just an abstract concept, it's easy to imagine yourself rising above it all. Noble, enlightened, even offering a hug to the homewrecker. But when you're living it, when your family has been gutted, and your kids are now being introduced to the person who helped dismantle everything you built, it's a different story. So, yeah, I still feel something. And I think that's not only understandable, but completely valid. To anyone else in this same boat, keep your head up. Take the high road where it matters, but never let anyone, especially those who've never walked this path, tell you how you should feel. Your pain is real, your experience is valid, and you're doing just fine. Update. After a long summer break and some well-deserved time off the grid, I'm back. Hard to believe it's already been a year since I posted about my daughter's birthday party, the one my ex-wife loves to host as part of her ongoing PR campaign. That post turned into one of my personal favorites thanks to all your input. And with your help, I pulled off one of the most satisfying bait and switches I've ever done. The result? Absolutely priceless. If you're new here, the link's below. Highly recommend the read. Now, for those just tuning in, quick recap. OMB, aka Old Man Balls, is the charming nickname for my ex-wife's affair partner. A true catch if you believe her version of reality. Anyway, since that whole situation ended in glorious poetic justice, I figured I'd check back in. But with a new angle this time. Once again, we're approaching the annual Watch OMB Pretend to be a Stepfather birthday extravaganza. Same scene as before, her family, co-workers who were fully aware of the affair, and just enough of our daughter's friends to give it all a wholesome glow. Word on the street is that the deepest emotional connection in the history of mankind is still going strong. They went Facebook official around Christmas, and I wouldn't be shocked if Mr. Soon-to-be husband number 3 is getting prepped for another public appearance, probably polishing his world's best dad mug as we speak. But here's where things take a turn. My daughter recently asked if I'd be coming to the party this year, and to be honest, 2 years out from the implosion, I think I'm in a place where I can handle it. I'd be going for her, no doubt, but that doesn't mean I can't also have a little fun along the way. So here's what I'm considering. Another rope-a-dope. Some of you might remember a post where my daughter said she had 2 daddies. A few of you correctly guessed that her mom probably heard, through the grapevine, that I'd started seeing someone new. And you were right. Quick update. Yes, there's a wonderful woman in my life now. We've been taking our time, doing things right, and everything is moving forward in a healthy, thoughtful way. She hasn't met my kids yet. I'm being intentional about that. But the relationship is solid. Which brings me to the idea. I'm thinking of RSVPing for the party, just me. No warnings, no additional info. Let the assumptions swirl. After the way I was treated by my ex and her morally bankrupt sidekick, I think keeping this one close to the vest feels appropriate. Is it petty? Maybe. Is it justified? Given the history? I'd say absolutely. So I'm throwing this out to the community again. What do you think? Am I stirring the pot or just reclaiming a little dignity with a side of style? Either way, just like last year, I'll be posting updates. And something tells me we're in for another round of unforgettable reactions. Let the games begin. Update. Just wanted to drop in with a quick background update to give some context before diving into the latest chapter. I've mentioned before that there's someone new in my life, and I'm happy to say things have been unfolding naturally and going really well. At one point, I considered bringing her to my daughter's birthday party for a big reveal. Dramatic entrance, tables turned kind of moment. But after thinking it through and reading a lot of your wise comments, it became obvious. Not the time, not the place. Even though she was fully on board and incredibly supportive, I realized showing up like that would have shifted the spotlight away from my daughter. And that's not what the day was about. It would have come off as petty, and I've worked too hard to stay above that. Instead, I chose a much more meaningful path. I introduced her to my kids at their favorite restaurant during a casual evening out. It went better than I could have hoped. The energy was positive, comfortable, and full of smiles. Not long after, we did a group outing that included her kids and mine. And again, it just worked. No forced vibes, no awkward tension. It felt real. Later, she and I took a beach vacation, the kind of relaxing, all-inclusive getaway that recharges your whole spirit. It was everything I needed, and yes, we posted a few photos. As expected, that didn't go unnoticed. About 3 days after we got back, I got a message from my ex. So, anything you want to tell me? Classic. Fast forward to my daughter's birthday party. I decided to attend solo. Just me, a thoughtful gift in hand, determined to stay cool and collected. I won't lie, I was a little anxious walking in, unsure how it would all go down. But I cleaned up nice, wore a sharp outfit, spritzed a little cologne, and walked in with a calm, confident smile. I entered the backyard, strolled past OMB and his parents without even a glance, and immediately got tackled by my kids. "Daddy!" They ran straight for me, jumping into my arms like they hadn't seen me in months. It was the best welcome I could have asked for. To my surprise, my former in-laws were just as warm. My ex-mother-in-law actually pulled me aside to thank me for coming. Aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone greeted me like old friends, cracking jokes, catching up, talking sports and life like nothing had ever changed. I was caught off guard by how easy it all felt. I didn't acknowledge OMB. No words, no eye contact. I didn't speak to my ex either. I just moved through the crowd with ease, kept things light, shared a few laughs, and when my daughter blew out her candles and had her moment, I gave her a big hug, said my goodbyes, and walked away with my head held high. I ended the night surrounded by good friends and my girlfriend. Good vibes only. It was a perfect wrap-up. To everyone who shared advice and encouragement, thank you. Once again, taking the high road proved to be the right choice. Even though I had my nerves going in, I walked out feeling like I handled it with grace. And yeah, I'll admit it felt really good. As for OMB, it's clear he's merely being tolerated, not embraced. The contrast between how I was received and how he was, well, let's just say it didn't go unnoticed. But honestly, that's not my concern anymore. I'm not wasting another ounce of energy wondering what's going on in their heads. I'm focused on what's next, and for the first time in a long time, I feel truly ready. Cheers to moving forward. Update. Hey everyone, happy fall. Hope the season's treating you as well as you deserve. It's been an unpredictable but strangely fulfilling year, and from the looks of things, it's only getting more eventful. But as always, I'm taking it one step at a time and holding on to gratitude for the things that are going right. It's been a few weeks since I last dropped in, and just like the rest of this summer, my personal growth has been on overdrive. The heaviness is gone. No more dragging sadness or revisiting the pain. I don't sit in the past anymore. I laugh at the sheer ridiculousness of it all. Two people made selfish choices, and I've let that go. My life is headed in a new direction, and I like where I'm going. Looking back even 3 months ago, I can't believe the shift. That last party I attended, total game changer. I walked away from that event more centered and more at peace than I'd been in a long time, though I didn't realize it in the moment. Since then, my girlfriend and I have started integrating our lives a bit more. She's joined me at a few of my kids' activities and, well, let's just say that has definitely stirred the pot. A few weeks ago, I brought her, unannounced, to one of my son's football games. My daughter lit up the second she saw her, ran over yelling her name, and jumped into her arms. Meanwhile, across the field, my ex-wife served me the kind of glare that could freeze lava. We sat nowhere near her or her side of the family. After the game, my ex rushed over and insisted on introducing herself. My girlfriend kept it classy and cool with a simple, "Nice to meet you." Let's just say, detonation level, high. And as if on cue, guess who suddenly showed up at a random midweek practice a few days later? Yep, OMB himself. This man had never once shown up before. Incredible timing, right? I ignored him naturally. Spent my time focused on my son and catching up with the other dads. I sent my girlfriend a text just to share the situation, and her response was priceless. "Tell the human throw pillow I said hi." Still laughing about that one. I won't get into every detail of the back and forth that's played out since then. Honestly, it's not the point. What I do want to talk about is this. Ever since my girlfriend became a visible part of my life, I've seen a dramatic spike in what I call the OMB highlight reel. I don't follow my ex on social media, but friends who still do have told me she's ramped up the online love story, selfies, lovey captions, curated family moments, all popping up within days of that football game. Predictable. Then came my son's birthday party, one of those staged, "look how perfect our family is" events. He specifically asked me to be there, so I showed up, kept it cool, and stayed just long enough to be respectful. But something was definitely off. The warm greetings I'd gotten in the past, gone. Some folks, like my ex-brother-in-law and his wife, avoided me completely. Clearly, something had been said behind closed doors, probably gossip about me moving on. Afterward, my girlfriend said something that stuck with me. "They don't want to see you happy." And that hit hard. Because it's true. For some of them, it's not just about what happened. It's the fact that I landed on my feet, that I didn't crumble, that I'm thriving. A certain story was sold, one where I was the villain, the guy who somehow deserved to be cheated on. OMB was cast as the savior, swooping in to rescue her from a life she no longer wanted. But now, I'm in shape. I'm happy. I'm surrounded by good people. I've got a woman who genuinely cares for me. I'm close with my kids. And none of it fits the story they were told. In their version, I was supposed to fall apart, be miserable, be stuck. But instead, I'm building a better life. And they don't know what to do with that. I know I'm not alone in this. I'm sure others here have experienced something similar. When the false narrative starts to unravel and people don't want to admit they backed the wrong version of the truth. It's straight out of the cheater's playbook. Control the narrative, spin the image, protect the fantasy. And just when I thought I'd seen it all, this past weekend took things to a whole new level. My parents were in town, and we all went to my son's football game. Full fall sports mode, and that's when it happened. My ex introduced OMB to my parents. Let that settle for a moment. She walked up and casually tried to bring him into a conversation with the people whose sons she betrayed. Like it was no big deal. Like it was normal. What happened next? My dad channeled his inner office space, pulled a classic Peter Gibbons, and walked straight past OMB like he didn't exist. No handshake, no nod, nothing. Absolute legend. I saw the whole thing from a few feet away, smiled, and just kept moving. No reaction needed. If you're just joining the story, this is the kind of shamelessness you're up against. These are people who think they've done nothing wrong, who believe you owe them kindness, who will try to fold their affair partner into your world like it's business as usual. As Chump Lady says, you can't nice your way into decency with people who have no shame. So, here we are, nearly October, and somehow the circus still finds ways to surprise me. Quick shout out to whoever said, "Your dad deserves a drink." You're absolutely right. More to come. But for now, I'm right where I need to be and still moving forward. Stay strong, folks. And as always, keep those OMB chronicles coming. Update. Hey, folks. Happy holidays to the greatest support group none of us ever planned on joining. It's been a minute since my last post, and with the year winding down, I figured it was the perfect time for an update. We're just weeks away from a fresh start, and as always, I've got something equal parts wholesome and hilarious to share. Let's kick off with the good stuff. As many of you know, I've been in a serious relationship for a while now. Things have been moving forward in the best possible way. Naturally, thoughtfully, and with a lot of love. This Thanksgiving, my girlfriend hosted dinner and invited my parents along with some close family. What started as a simple holiday meal turned into an unforgettable celebration, full of music, dancing, and Latin food that blew everyone away. Even my normally reserved parents were cracking up and having the time of their lives. It hit me mid-meal. In 7 years of marriage, my parents never once came to Thanksgiving. My ex never made them feel welcome, no matter how often I tried. Looking back now, that speaks volumes. The rest of the holiday weekend was just as packed. Fun, fulfilling, and exhausting in the best way. Now let's talk about the other kind of update. The kids were with me for most of the weekend, with just one overnight at their mom's. The next morning, I picked them up, and they started chatting about something they'd done with her and OMB. And then my daughter casually dropped this gem. Mommy got engaged. OMB asked her to marry him. I had to bite my lip to keep from laughing. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel angry. It was pure comedy. Like, really? This guy is signing up to be a third-time husband by marrying someone who betrayed her last one? Best of luck with that. The kids didn't seem fazed at all. My son immediately switched gears. So, Dad, what fun stuff are we doing today? Right there. That response told me everything I needed to know. They don't care. The pedestal their mom thought she was building doesn't exist. And no, I haven't brought it up with my ex. There's no need. I've laughed enough about it on my own. Honestly, I'm amazed it's lasted this long. Do I love the idea of Grandpa OMB sticking around longer? Not exactly. But don't worry, I've already stocked up on Costco popcorn. Meanwhile, life on my end is full of joy. I'm surrounded by love, making new memories with my girlfriend, my kids, and my family. The past is behind me, and there's so much more to look forward to. Yes, more installments of the Chronicles are definitely coming. Any bets on how this new engagement plays out? I'm open to predictions. Winner gets bragging rights. For those who've been following along since the beginning, you know these posts started as a way to process the chaos, heal, and gather advice. But these days, it's practically turned into a sitcom, and I'm here for it. Because in the middle of all the mess, we've all earned a few good laughs. Healing isn't neat. It's not a straight road. It's full of setbacks and surprises. But every so often, life gives you a little wink, a reminder that you're on the right track. Let's rewind about 6 weeks. My kids dropped the engagement news, and I just let it slide. Since then, total silence from my ex. Not a single word about it. No announcement, no official post. Just a few carefully framed photos where, if you zoom in enough, you might catch a glimpse of a ring. And then came the real kicker. While my girlfriend was hanging out with the kids recently, my daughter asked, "Are you going to marry Daddy because Mommy and OMB are engaged, but they can't get married for 5 years?" Wait, 5 what? I almost choked on my drink. My girlfriend gave me this look like, did I hear that right? Apparently, OMB is holding off until his kid goes off to college. 5 years from now. That's not an engagement. That's a delay tactic. A press pause on commitment. Now, I'm not here to speculate, okay? Maybe a little. But let's be honest. That's not some fairy tale timeline. That's damage control with a fancy ring. And I'm not even mad about it. It just proves what we all already know. The shiny new story they're trying to sell isn't what it seems. So if you're stuck in the thick of it right now, hang in there. Keep your chin up, laugh when life gives you those absurd little gifts, and don't let the chaos of others distract you from your own peace. Wishing all of you a season filled with strength, healing, and a lot more joy than drama. Happy holidays, my friends. Update. Hey everyone, it's AC. As I've said before, sharing this journey has always brought me a sense of clarity, both as a way to track my healing and hopefully offer some light to others walking through similar storms. The early days felt like drowning in darkness, but over time, that weight lifts and slowly, the laughter returns. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that the universe has an incredible sense of humor. One question that keeps coming up in this community is, did they trade up? Is the affair partner somehow an upgrade? Will the cheater become someone new and better in their next relationship? It's a totally normal question, especially in the beginning. I've been there. I spiraled through post after post looking for insight, wondering if I was the problem, if I missed something. But now, 2 years later, having had a front row seat to it all, I can say confidently, no, these people are not better. In fact, they're exactly who they showed themselves to be. And the universe? It recently handed me another reminder, one that was equal parts funny and enlightening. But first, the good stuff. Things with my girlfriend have been amazing. We're closing in on our 1-year anniversary, and it still blows my mind how quickly that time has flown by. We've built something real. No games, no chaos, just genuine connection and shared joy. Whether we're out exploring the city, catching live music, watching sports, or simply cooking dinner together, it just works. No drama. Just peace. Now, back to this past weekend. She wanted to take me to one of her favorite downtown restaurants, a place I hadn't been to yet. We get there, settle in, order our food, and 15 minutes in, there's tapping on the window. I turn and see my kids waving and grinning. Total surprise. Turns out they'd been heading to that exact same restaurant with my ex. My son had casually mentioned earlier in the week they were going downtown, but we hadn't expected to cross paths. Still, they ran in, gave us huge hugs, full of energy, one of those unexpectedly sweet moments that makes everything feel right. Then, the surprise twist. In walks OMB's daughter. My first thought? Oh, fantastic. The 5-year engagement fairy might be right behind her. Cue the internal groan. To be fair, I was polite. She's a kid, not her fault. But I'd be lying if I said it didn't slightly dampen the vibe. So we waited and waited. But you know who didn't show up? That's right, OMB himself. Later, the kids joined their mom at a different table, and we wrapped up our evening with a smile. Fast forward a few days. I asked my son casually, "Hey bud, did you all have a good time that night? Was anyone missing?" His reply, "Oh, Mr. OMB didn't come. He said he was tired and wanted to sleep, so he sent his daughter with mommy." Classic. Seriously? A night out in the city, great food, a fun vibe, and he opted out? No surprise. People don't skip events like that unless they just don't want to be there. And there it is, right in the open. These aren't better people. They're not invested. The performance wears thin over time and the truth leaks out. So for anyone still stuck in that loop of wondering if your ex is now living some dream life with someone who treats them like royalty, I promise you the cracks eventually show. The spark fades. Reality creeps back in. Because here's the truth. The affair partner isn't some magical upgrade. They were just the person willing to cross a line. And the version of your ex they get, it's not new, it's not improved, it's just more of the same, minus the illusion. Eventually, those masks slip. The roles they play stop working. And what's left? Two people who built something on broken trust, now trying to pretend it's solid. So keep your head up. Keep moving forward. And when the universe throws you a little reminder like this, laugh. You've earned it.